Let's go live now to Colombia for the latest on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's so-called faux royal tour of the South American country. I'm joined by senior global reporter at the Mail Online, Nick Pisa, who's on the ground in Cali. Nick, good evening or good morning, wherever you are. What's the latest, please, on this tour? Harry and Meghan, what are they up to?
So, yes, as you say, this is the final day of the tour. They're wrapping up after being here for 4 days now in South America, in Colombia. Many, I think, to be honest with you, I'm one of my colleagues wondering what on earth were they doing here, really, because it seems to have raised more questions than answers. I mean, they've talked about some very worthy causes, cyberbullying, online violence, which is great, racism and women's equality, great. But at the end of the day, to the ordinary Colombian in the street who's trying to eke out a living on less than £900 a month, which is the average wage, they're thinking, what is this going to do to us? Especially when they see the amount of security that's surrounded the whole of this trip. You know, drones, helicopters, roads closed off, crossroads blocked. You've had to go long detours back to their homes or places where they work. It's as I say, more questions than answers for the ordinary Colombian in the street.
So it's their last day today. When are they leaving and where are they going back to? Are they going back to California?
So they've just finished this morning a conference on Afro women in power, which was held at the main theatre here in Cali. And I should stress again, the security aspect is just, again, incredible. We were initially hoped that we would be able to get in and see this, but unfortunately we weren't able to. As the morning progressed, the police just pushed us further and further back beyond the cordon. In the end, we ended up almost a block away and weren't able to see anything, although very fortunately, we discovered there was a live link which we were able to watch via YouTube and see what Meghan had to say about it. There was also a heckler who interrupted the vice president who's hosting this visit, Francesca Marquez, who interrupted her speech, but no one interrupted Meghan's intervention.
Nick Pisa on the ground in Colombia. Thank you. I'll leave you to it. Safe travels, and thank you for being with us. I'm joined now by royal biographer Angela Levin. Angela, of course, you have had a nice history with Prince Harry, at least. You wrote his biography and so on and so on. What do you make of this tour in Colombia? What's it all about, really? It's all a bit strange, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a nonsense. I think they're playing royals. I think it's extremely rude, and I think that the King should now do something about it, particularly that Harry was told to apologise for slaves. Now, he can't get mixed up in all that. It's absolutely not. They've gone there not representing anybody, with no power. They like to be thought of as just sort of global brand. That's what they call themselves. So it's just nonsense.
Who's asked them to apologise for slavery? Local in Colombia?
The vice president.
They say actions speak louder than words. And in this video, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are being called out as rude, grilled publicly by royal commentator Angela Levin. In this breakdown, I'll walk you through each moment, expose how the narrative is framed, and ask, is this a justified critique or another orchestrated royal attack? Stay with me. To grasp the stakes here, we need a little context. Angela Levin is a veteran royal watcher known for blunt criticism. Her commentary often influences how the public views Meghan and Harry. When she calls them rude, it echoes beyond tabloids, it frames perception. So, when she grills them, it's not just personal opinion, it's media power in motion. Now, let's see how she builds her case. Levin begins by labeling Meghan and Harry as rude. That's a strong moral word, not a mild critique, but a condemnation of character. She likely references specific behaviors, social slights, or interview moments to back her claim. Notice how she frames it. This is not an isolated mistake, it's a pattern. The visuals or cuts may include clips of Meghan or Harry in public events juxtaposed with neutrally framed royal settings to accentuate the contrast. But here's where you raise questions. What specific instances does she cite? Are they substantiated? Or are they interpreted through the lens of bias? In this next stretch, Levin presents examples. She may pull from interviews, public events, statements, or perceived slights.
took Harry to one side and asked him if he will really do that.
I mean, that's extraordinary.
No, he can't. Well, she's very keen on repatriation of slaves. And she saw Meghan on the Netflix, a 6-hour Netflix, where you could fall asleep 10,000 times and was full of untruths. And she said, we share the same ideals and goals. So she thinks that she's got people there that will really help the slaves of 300-400 years ago. Now, this is very, very dangerous because they mustn't start getting their feet on this, and it's just not allowed. You just can't do it. And so I think they've really got to do something very much about it. And it's quite interesting that the Vice President didn't think very much about the Netflix thing, where Meghan did this terrible curtsy and mimicked that right out.
Yes.
And lost them a lot of supporters and said with a squeaky voice, "Hello, Your Majesty."
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible. But this time she taught 2 little girls how to curtsy to her. Now, the hypocrisy is beyond anything you can think of. The whole thing is hypocritical because he's extremely worried about his family, very anxious, won't bring them to the UK, but he will take them to away from in a very dangerous country where they had 3,000 police looking after them and 14 cars to make sure they weren't damaged in any way.
What do you think the King's thinking about all this? He's probably watching it from, from
Well,
back
I think
home.
he's very busy with looking after himself and doing all the work he has. I know they don't look at these things straight away. The A's look at it and then they discuss it. There is going to be a discussion, though, in Scotland about things, about the royal family. And I do hope they'll do something about Harry and Meghan, because each time you think they've been doing something terrible, they do something worse. This is worse than when they were Africa, and you can't actually see them going through and pretending they are royal. All the things that they did were what Meghan wanted. She had a list and it was approved of. So all this nonsense that they did, which is actually, I can do it better than anybody else in the royal family.
Yeah. What would happen if Harry or Meghan did go rogue or roguer?
They already are rogue.
Exactly. If they really pushed the boat out and said, do you know what, I apologise. If Harry said, I apologise for my family's links to slavery, where would that leave the King, the monarchy?
Well,
Britain?
it's a very difficult position, isn't it?
Each is used as evidence of rudeness. As I narrate, listen closely. Are these examples disputed, contextual, or selective? Sometimes rudeness is inferred rather than explicit. For each cited behaviour, I'll pause to ask whether it might instead reflect defensiveness, misunderstanding, or editorial framing. Because the line between impoliteness and narrative spin is thin in royal media. Beyond the words themselves, tone and delivery matter. Levin's tone, pauses, emphasis all reinforce her verdict. Her framing will shape how the audience receives each claim. The video may intercut reaction shots, dramatic cuts, or headline overlays to amplify her critique. Those visual cues do more work than you might realize. They guide your emotional reaction before you even process the argument. A balanced analysis would include counterpoints, maybe Meghan or Harry's side, or alternative interpretations. But in commentary like this, those are often minimized or ignored. In your voiceover, you should highlight omissions, what Levin doesn't address, what she glosses over, or what she assumes without evidence. That's where critical thinking enters the picture. As the segment winds down, the messaging is clear. Meghan and Harry's behavior is not just controversial, it's morally questionable. The takeaway is meant to stick. But it's up to us to decide whether the critique is fair, or if it's built on media framing and selective evidence. In closing, yes, public figures should be held to high standards. But when rudeness becomes a narrative weapon, we must interrogate intent, context, and bias. What's your verdict, justified critique, or media character assassination? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk it out.
You then say, but they have no power, they have no position. Harry has stepped down from the royal family in 2020. Yes, that's right. And so therefore you can't listen to them. But you can then have to have this argument where they say, yes, but he promised, he did say, he's your son. It's very tricky. I think it's very, very hot and dangerous.
And just briefly talking about the King, he is in, he's in a massive row, I guess, with his brother Prince Andrew, who's refusing to move out of Royal Lodge, a big sort of cottage/mansion in Windsor Great Royal Park. What's going on there?
Well, it's got 30 rooms.
Left, by the way.
Yeah, 30 rooms in terrible condition. He has it there, but he hasn't got any money. King Charles pays $3 million to have people looking after him, protecting him, gives him $4 million a year so that he can live. But Andrew won't leave this home. He wants to stay there. Now, lots of people have to downsize. He refuses. It's now a big fight. After October, none of his protection people will be there. No money.
So the King gives him money to live off, lets him live in Royal Lodge, and but now Andrew's refusing to go, so the King has said, right, no protection, no security. So Andrew is essentially, he's a squatter in Royal Lodge now, is he?
Yeah, he will be. No, he's not a squatter because he signed a thing that he could stay there till later. But he had to do painting it every 2 or 3 years, and he had to look after it. And it's a terrible state. If you see pictures, they're shocking. Water coming through the ceiling and in a terrible condition. It needs a minimum of £7 million repairing.
Goodness me. Well, families, Angela? Who'd have them? Who'd pick them? Thank you so much, Angela Levin, Royal Bogford. Thank you for joining us this evening.